What's up, everybody? Excuse me. This is Gina Ifoe, the one and only African superstar, coming to you back at it again here in the UK. You guys know when I'm here, I tend to be so much more contemplative because of the environment. And I want to talk about this topic today. Big shout out to the African superstar family. Guys, if you're in the room, you know to do the necessary. Please make sure you hello, share, subscribe to our family. Make sure you support our endeavors. As far as current events go, we are still in the vote for South Africa. The voting is ongoing for that until July 15th. And following that will be the next nomination that we have received, which is Best Afro Pop, Best Diasporic Afro Pop Artist of the Year, and that's actually in Paris. So we are up for our third award following South Africa. So we will begin that immediately after the voting for closes for South Africa. You guys may or may not know my EP. Hello, my brand new album dropped on June 26th called STAR. I've been promoting it on the channel for probably the better part of 2 months. We currently have two singles out, STAR and Beach Chill, which are available for streaming on Spotify, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. But if you want the entire project, you have to purchase that from Bandcamp exclusively, which the link is on this. Big shout outs to the family. Who's in the room? We have several of you here today. Good shout outs to the family. Hello. If you're in the room, make sure you greet and all of that. Today, I want to talk about Black people. Many Black people miss out on better quality of life and opportunities because of their obsession with the West. So I want to talk about a couple things here. Big shout outs. Who's in the room today? Hello. If you're here, don't just be a wallflower. Say something. Be a part of the conversation today. What's up, Isaac Rain? Good to see you. It's been a while. Roots Reggae Girl. Big shout outs to the family. Please make sure you like the stream. If you fill in the topic, show your love in the chat. Yes. All right. So I was thinking about a myriad of things today, thinking about my life in Europe, thinking about my life in Ghana, thinking about my world travels. I had the privilege of speaking with one of my dear friends, Nicola. She's my birthday twin. We shared the same birthday, June 26th. So for this year, for her birthday, she traveled to Portugal. She lives in America currently, and she traveled to Portugal to attend the Afro Nation Music Festival. And recently, she's been traveling a bit more internationally. She's, experienced her first trip to Portugal several months ago and then decided to come back for the Afro Nation. And I thought about that in addition to my own exposure through travels and realizing that I could have a better quality of life outside of America, outside of the West. I realized that I was treated better in certain environments, that I was respected more. I realized that certain environments had less violence, they had less racism, and you could also get more bang for your buck. For the very same amount of money that you pay living in America, living in the UK, you can live luxury in other countries. You can afford to travel. You can eat better food. You can have a better social life, And it's very unfortunate because, in my opinion, so many people miss out on a better quality of life because they don't even want to entertain this. Hey, no. Big shout outs to Nunu. Guys, you guys gotta say hello to our family member that has been hosting me here in the UK since last year. This is Nunu. She's one of our family members, and she is so graciously open our home. So y'all see her in that fly dress. She just came in from a night out. Hello. What? Shout outs to Nunu. Yes. Big shout outs to Nunu. Make sure you guys show love to Nunu. Nunu she literally came from our family, realized I was having some struggles with accommodation here in the UK as I come in and out. And, like I said, reached out, shares her home with me and her family with me. And it's quite lovely. So we give big shout outs to Nunu tonight. I realized the benefit of leaving America in my case. It was a very stressful environment for me. I was very unhappy. I felt I wasn't progressive. And I felt that I couldn't overcome those things. I had already done the blueprint of what I was supposed to do. You know, upstanding citizen, no legal troubles, college educated, hardworking, worldly, responsible, all the elements that cultivate a responsible citizen. I embody those things. And I've been able to take those same elements in other countries and do better and thrive and have a better quality of life. Although, you know, um, living here in the UK, I prefer it to America. The weather was one of the major drawbacks here. And then naturally, by the time I got here, I was just really tired of non-Black environments as a whole. I was tired of living in non-Black environments. I may have had a different perspective if I came to Europe, maybe in my college days or whatever. But I was tired of it. You know what I mean? I was tired of all the stereotypical things that go on. And that's what, ultimately pushed me to the continent. But I would say 100% my quality of life enhanced when I moved to the UK. Okay. I lived in an environment with much less violence. I lived in an environment where, in my opinion, the food is regulated better. There's still chemically modified foods and things like that. But because the UK provides healthcare for its citizens, they have more of an incentive to try to be proactive about a lot of the foods that we're eating and things like that. I definitely got to travel, to be in this environment. Travel is so much more affordable. Travel is so much more accessible. You actually get more time off at your job. Americans have the least time off allotted by their employers in the world. Other countries, European countries. When I started my job here in the UK, I immediately had a month of holiday time, paid time off from my job to go and do whatever I wanted to do. And better transit system. I didn't need to have a car here in Europe. I was able to use the trains, the buses. So immediately my quality of life improved by leaving the environment that I was in. Now, ultimately, when I got to Ghana, it was even better, because I eradicated racism. I live in a tropical climate. I live in an environment with my peers. I eat organic foods. I have a better social life, a better sex life, less stress, better quality of sleep, and a sense of community. So it's unfortunate because many Black people living in the West believe that because they're there and there's a lot of fanfare about them being there and them being in the best country in the world, and we have a big defense, and we're a powerful economy, and all this type of BS that they feed us, even though we don't see the residuals in our own personal life. When we look at our life, we can't say, I'm really, really happy with where I am in life. Even people that are high earners. And I think this also goes into Black people not comprehensively looking at their life. When I talk to a lot of my peers, a lot of what they aspire to become in life and what's important to them is all financial. Okay. They don't prioritize their dreams and aspirations. They don't prioritize their mental health. They don't prioritize the quality of food they're eating, their rest. They put a lot of that stuff on the back burner just because they want to be high earners and just because they want to have this image of money, even though they may be suffering and not enjoying their day to day. For me, enjoying my day to day was a high, high priority. And in exchange, I was willing to sacrifice a lot of material things and a conventional image because that was important to me. Big shout outs, guys. I'm going to start with the shout outs. If you're here, I see we have quite a few of you. So let me see you in the chat room. Okay. Don't be spectators because you guys come here day after day. Let's just do the necessary. What's up, family? Who's in the building with me today. What's up, Black Messiah? I see you in the building. Yeah, you guys shouted out Nunu. Good for you. ATM Tim. So we have 4 of you, 5 of you in the chat room. Is that right? Okay, this is a great time for a commercial break because you guys, what's up? Do you understand what I'm saying to you today? Do you understand? All right, big shout out to the family. We got 18 people in here. I'll wait for you guys to get on code. Let me see you in the chat room. Hello. Big shout out to the family. Check out my recent music video. Hello, the first single from my brand new EP. Yes, we'll take this commercial break while you guys get on code. Yes. One and only. I'm back again. African superstar on the track. It's the weekend. And ain't no place I'd rather be than here with you. And you here with me. Yeah.
Got the sauce, boy.
It's a beach chill. You ain't gotta lie, come close and keep it real. Swear to God, already know how you feel. It's a beach chill. It's a beach chill. You ain't gotta lie, come close and keep it real. Swear to God, already know how you feel. It's a beach chill. Shout out to the family. Yes, for that commercial break, guys. So tonight I'm talking about, in my opinion, I think so many Black people miss out on a better quality of life and also opportunities. Now, to understand the origins of all this, you have to understand what we are expected and groomed to be in these Western societies, which we are designed and groomed to be the backbone, kind of the consumers, kind of these, the employees of society. Okay, while many of us are doing these quite fundamental functions in society, if you ask me, here in the UK, we do a lot of the care homes, we do a lot of the, night shift jobs, warehousing jobs, the drivers, bus drivers, train drivers, all that kind of stuff is kind of where you see the concentration of our people. You see, while we're doing this, the executives and the CEOs and the board members and the parliament are living a very, very comfortable quality of life, sending their kids to the best schools, taking holidays, living in luxury, living in posh houses. The reality is that what is offered to us in these Western settings in terms of quality of life is really not that robust, if you ask me. And we have opportunities elsewhere. And a lot of times you will never know about these opportunities because you're not educated about them. You don't see them through the mainstream media. A lot of your peers, are not promoting it unless you go out and see, unless you determine that, there's got to be more to this than what you're having, and I see a lot of, Black people around the world enjoying their lives, enjoying their lives more than we do in America. I mean, real talk. And right now with the violence issue, I know I talk about it a lot and some people don't understand why I talk about it a lot. It's the fact that so many people are not confronted with that same environment from day to day. When you get up and you hear about the shootings that happened last night, or you hear gunshots during the course of your day, or you see a police tape somewhere while you're driving around, or someone who's been murdered, someone who has been attacked or something like this. These things are psychological damages, and it's quite traumatic. And the reality is everybody's not going through that. They're able to live without the bombarding of all this very toxic, tragic, violent reality. And for many of the diasporians, those in the American diaspora, we cling to this ideology of trauma. It's like we don't want to get beyond it and disconnect from it. I'm eager to disconnect from all of this nonsense. I'm pro soft life. I want to do soft life. Okay, I don't want to do trauma and discord and sadness and blah, blah, blah. And our people, our obsession with the West, like, even though we're not having a robust quality of life, even though our kids are not safe in schools, even though we're profiled and discriminated upon, and even though we're facing police brutality and we see the double standards, we are obsessed with it. There are people that are the FBA people. Hello. I know some of y'all are probably here in my chat room today. Yes. Hello. There are these fundamental Black Americans, okay, that don't claim to be Africans, don't claim to be associated. If they were honest with themselves, they know that they are not living a great quality of life. They know that they face double standards and racism. They know this. But because they are obsessed with clinging on to that ideology, that identity, they're really missing out on a better quality of life. I can tell you, people are chilling. You guys saw my beach chill music video that day. Me and Mr. Hot Chocolate went out and we're on the boat in Akosombo. At the very same time, I'm sure somebody was getting gunned down in America. I'm sure somebody was getting put over, profiled. I'm sure somebody was getting passed up for the promotion in the workplace. I'm sure of it. Somewhere in America, somewhere in the UK. Meanwhile, we were on the boat. You see, that's what's happening. Simultaneously, while you're going through the struggle life, you're missing opportunities. You're experiencing constant disappointment, being robbed of opportunities. Sorry, guys. They be trying to, I be talking, I be preaching. Hello. I be preaching up in here in the network. The network be like, no, Gina, don't talk to him. I got to talk to you. Because, one of the things that gives people a lot of satisfaction, first trivia question, if you agree with this statement, let me see a number one. Okay, I'm looking for some crowd support because we got 24 of you in here. Yeah, so next question. What gives people a lot of satisfaction in life is achieving goals, right? If you agree with that statement, let me see a number one. What gives a lot of people satisfaction in life is achieving goals. Okay, so when you start out for the higher education and you graduate, you feel better. When you are teaching yourself how to drive and you get your license or you buy your first car, you feel better. When you're dating the person, for the men, when you're dating the woman you love and you propose to her and she accepts, you feel good. When you achieve your goals, you feel good. The way the system is in the West, it's so difficult for you to go from point A to point B. So many times we start getting into our middle ages. I know a lot of my friends are going through this period right now. I'd say it probably starts maybe your late 30s, your 40s, definitely, where you start looking at your life and you're like, okay, I haven't measured up, my career, my love life, my kids. I'm not married. I don't have the house. I don't have the savings. I haven't achieved. I haven't traveled. You see, you start doubting yourself, thinking that you're not achieving. You think that you're not working hard enough, when it's really the system that's prohibiting you. And what I want to tell you is that people around the world are maximizing their life. A lot of people here in Europe, by the time shoot they're 40, 45, they're damn near pre-retirement. Versus living in America, people are still in their late 60s now working, telling people they can't afford to retire because they can't afford it. That means even when you do retire, you still don't have the liberty to go do the things you want to do. If you want to travel, if you want to, whatever you want to do, you can't because you're roped up. That's the system. And that's how it's going to be. All right, let's see. I hope we got some more commenting. I want to hear from you guys. You guys can get in on this conversation today, whether you agree or disagree. It's a conversation. Yes, big shout outs. ATM Tim says, I like America, but I like Africa better. And realistically, there's conveniences that are in these environments. Like I said, when I moved to Europe, I love the trains. I love the trains. I love the fact I didn't have to have a car and I could still live a really great life. And actually, in my opinion, it was so much more convenient. Like the trains in Europe, you can travel to different countries. I got to Paris, France in 2 hours taking the Eurostar from London, and I could literally take the train throughout. I went to the train, in Northampton, took a train to King's Cross, okay, which is the international train station here in London, picked a train to Paris. The train went straight to Gare du Nord, which is the train station there. And I mean, I was a pedestrian the whole time. It's so lit. I haven't taken the trip to other European countries, but I understand you can get the train to Amsterdam, stuff like that. It's just so nice. Things like that. Mass decent public transportation, so you don't have to have the expense of a car if you don't want it. And personally, the reason that I like pedestrian lifestyle is because it's exercise. You can ensure that you're going to get exercise every day, even if you don't have a fitness routine where you're going to the gym or doing classes or whatever. If you're walking to and fro, it's good. It's great. And that also is a reason why many Americans have a lot of health problems. They're not active enough. But then again, their communities are not designed for them to be active because you need a car to get to many places. When I lived in Ohio, there was no way I could bus route my life from school, when I was schooling at ITT Tech or University of Cincinnati, from, school to my parents' house to my gym to, I had to get a car. I was forced to get a car, even though I didn't want it. And these are the things I'm talking about. So I understand there's definitely things, but in my opinion, for me, the best option is to live in Ghana and visit the West. So, you come and you spend your time here, but this is kind of your holiday place. And then your core day to day is the place that you love, the place that you feel you are most thriving. Big shout out to ATM 10. What's up, wifey? I see you in the building. Yes, we have so many of you here. So please make sure you're in the chat. All right. Sam Wright, I see you, family. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. Queenie, it's good to see you. Hi, Tony. Thank you so much for being on code. What's up? What's up? Maggie says, I'm working on my African plan. I want liberation. You see, and that's another thing. I'm not going to get heavy on it tonight because I talk about it a lot, but the slavery. You've got to know, ladies and gentlemen, especially, you're not made for slavery. If you're religious, you believe that God created you, God designed you, your existence is ordained and all that. There has to be a period where you ask yourself, is this what I was born to do? I had a big problem with my whole life being structured in a way that had nothing to do with me. So from the minute I wake up, I'm waking up to an alarm clock, which I don't like. Okay, I like waking up when my body says. I like waking up when I'm rested. If I wake up and I look outside and it's rainy, I like the ability to say, oh, no, I don't want to go outside today. Or, oh, it's cold. Or, you know what, I'm tired. Let me go back to sleep for 2 more hours. You see, that's slavery stuff. Then from the alarm clock, you get involved in traffic. I had some girlfriends over the years that absolutely hate traffic. And, that might be our time to talk in the mornings or in the evenings during commute time. My girlfriend, Nicola, when she lived in Chicago, I would hear from her during commute time. And one of my other friends, Marissa, she hated traffic. So, you're going through the stress of traffic. Traffic is off the hook, even in Accra as well. Lagos, most big cities. Traffic is crazy. It's stressful. then you might be trying to get to work. And if you live in England, you needs to be on time because they don't have any grace period. They don't care. Okay. They don't care if the train was delayed. They don't care if whatever. The M1 was shut down. That's our expressway here. They don't care. Okay. Some of the jobs I had in America, they're total dickheads. My commute was about 45 minutes. The last place I worked in Columbus, I worked in Polaris. Big shout outs to my Ohioans. I lived in Reynoldsburg, but I commuted to Polaris. So my drive every day was like 45 minutes each way. And the traffic at Polaris Parkway is insane. Shout outs to my Ohioans. Everybody knows about Polaris Parkway. It's out there in the boondocks and it's ridiculous. And I don't know what it's like now because that was 2016. But a lot of the corporate places had their headquarters in Polaris. So in the mornings and after work, the traffic was just unbelievable. And it was so stressful. And I had this dickhead boss that if you get there 5 minutes late, and she knows that you're driving 45 minutes, which means if I arrived there 5 minutes late, that means that I was totally en route when I should have been. That means I could have been at the exit ramp, backed up by traffic. And you know that because if I'm 5 minutes late, that means I was en route. That means I didn't leave my house, late. If you get there half an hour late, an hour late, you didn't set off when you were supposed to, unless there was like an accident. But nonetheless, it's just stressful. So after you wake up to the alarm, do the traffic, do the commute, then you get to the workplace. Then the real starts. The team meetings, the emails, the nonsense, the stupid coworker, the stupid boss. And you've got to ask yourself, because I know I did. I would ask myself, Gina, this cannot be what you were born to do. This cannot be what you were formed to do, like punch this clock. And now, and even as you guys see me, the person that I have become over these years of getting out of that situation is absolutely remarkable. And that's why I just want to come and challenge you guys to analyze your quality of life. Okay, just because you're born in England, just because you're born in Germany, just because you're born in America, it may not be the best fit for you. That's the facts. Check it out otherwise. And if I was saying something that didn't make sense, there wouldn't be, currently I saw a stat last week, there's over 9 million American expats in the international community. Now, see, those are the people that are measured. Those are probably the people that either notified them that they're traveling or, whatever. I'm not counted because according to them, I still live in America, see, because I'm not telling them any unnecessary information. But those are counted Americans that are living in the international community. Let's be real here. Okay. If America was that lit and it was just a place to be and other countries didn't even compare, you would not have that vast amount of people living abroad. How many other countries have that many of their citizens living in other countries? Let's be real. That's a testament to Americans exploring the international community and realizing, wait a minute, I can live better elsewhere. Because nobody will proactively move to another country to live a lesser quality of life. Nobody would. When people are migrating and all this stuff, they're doing it with the expectation that it's going to be better for them. You understand? Big shout outs to the family. All right. Black Messiah says foundational Black Americans are either miserable and know it, or they love the oppression. Some of us can't afford to travel. I think 25% of us will leave if we get that check. Big shout outs to Black Messiah. It's a fact. FBA people continually solidify the fact that they are not happy in their situation and that they are also perturbed by those of us that are happy in our situation, that have found alternative options. They're very frustrated by that. To me, that's a huge indication of the fact that they're not content in their situation. Because why would you be upset that someone else is gone? If you are a foundational Black American and there's members from the diaspora that have gone to Africa, gone to South America, I don't think they're really upset about expats to go to Asia, expats that go to Latin America, they're particularly perturbed with diasporians that go back to the continent and rave about the continent and share their experience and how they thrive and how things are good, because that's a self-hate issue, see. Because any Black person that loves other Black people cannot discount the root of Black people. They actually want to gravitate to the root. They actually want to learn and interact with other members of the diaspora because they love the reflection of themselves. So it's very obvious that the way that they act and even the way that they come on social media, you'll be hard pressed to see any Pan-Africans, any diasporians that are living abroad go to these Tommy Sotomayers and go to the Manosphere and go to these Knock-Kneesies and all these kind of people, these FBA people. You'll be hard pressed to see any of us going to their chat rooms, insulting them, talking nonsense about them, trying to discourage them, but yet they're always in our spaces. Why are they always in our spaces? If what they had to say was true and legitimate about the continent, why? You see? So they solidify the fact that they're not content. If they were so content, they wouldn't have any time to entertain what we have to say. They would be happy for us. They would just give us the deuces. Okay, if y'all going to Africa, go on. We're gonna hold it down here in America, whatever. So I think, and Black Messiah agrees, it's very obvious. It's very obvious that there's struggle life, and we just need to be real with each other and understand that, yeah, although many of us, we may have generations in America, for instance, or whatever, it's not a good quality of life. It's how we're living is unnatural. It's not a good quality of life. And it's a huge indication that it's not our natural habitat, because you don't go through so much trauma and toxicity and obstacles and all that stuff in a place that's supported for you. You don't. Many diasporans are able to go to countries where they don't have family, they're not familiar, they didn't grow up, they might not even know all the cultural norms or the language, and matriculate. Why is that? Why is that? To me, that's supportive of you being there. Because if you can go there without all of these elements that I just said, and you can thrive and you can matriculate and you can build your life, you see, that's an indication that soil is fertile. Big shout outs to the family. J. Lion Selassie says, I agree with you. Black people are attached to the West. Big shout outs to you. Ruth Reagan Girl says, somewhere the struggle is real. ATM Tim says, it's so much toxicity in America. I want out and I'm making a way for me and my family. Big shout outs to you. So I asked many of you the trivia question, and several of you answered. Big shout outs to the family. Litchy Litch, I see you there. Eddie, what's up, family? Thank you guys so much for being a part of our chat tonight. J. Lion Selassie says most African Americans are lost. They're not going to reconnect with Africa. This is a very interesting point. I do want to touch on this. And this is something else that I want you to ponder upon. You see, if you are intelligent and if you are true to self, you understand that from the ground up, when we are in these environments, we are taught to estrange ourselves from our root. We're completely ignorant to our root. We are not promoted to reconnect to our root. We are groomed to do things that are not in our best interest or the edification of our life. Thus clinging on to the predominant, the prevailing culture and norms that we are socialized with. Okay, the last thing that Western nations want from the diaspora at large is to reconnect to Africa. We are promoted to do everything else in life, except for that. And if you were intelligent, you would go straight for that. You would say, okay, the one thing that I know that has been restricted from me, not, not promoted to me, is the thing I need to tap into. That was my thing. When I started realizing that I have strategically been miseducated about a lot of things, those were the very things that I wanted to explore and become knowledgeable. And I can tell you for a fact, 500%. And some of you guys are confused about my lineage and all of that stuff. I'm born and raised in America. My parents are foreign, but I'm born and raised in America. Okay, lived in America for over 3 decades of my year. I know what I'm saying. Okay, went to school, went to university, have worked professionally, have traveled to many states in America, have, Black American friends and family. I know what I'm saying. My quality of life has enhanced by 500%. I don't even have a remote desire to return to America ever again to live there. My life abroad is way better. And it's interesting. I have other family members that are no longer living in America, and they have the same perspective. Just because that's your starting point doesn't mean that is where your ending point. Now, by all means, if you're balling in America, you're balling in Europe, you feel like, man, my life is great. I love this country. I wouldn't change anything about my life or my kids' lives, then go for it. Matter of fact, if you balling like that, let me see some super chats up on the chat. Hello, because y'all in America, what's up, family? We got a lot going on with the family, with the projects. Y'all balling out there in the West, I need to see it. Hello. 5, 10, 15, 20 is nothing for you, ballers. Maggie says African Americans are diverse. There have always been African Americans who reconnect to Africa. That is a fact. There has always been, I believe, this. What can I say? Two elements of our culture. We obviously have the Marcus Garveys, we got the Malcolm X, we got the Muhammad Ali's that promoted Black power and do for self and, reconnect to Africa and this whole Afrocentric identity and stuff. And then, you have the house niggas, you got the Uncle Toms, the sellouts and all that, the coconuts, the bounties, the Oreos, whatever. You've always had those polar ends. So I wouldn't say obviously all, I don't need to preface all because we should be mature enough to understand that there's always exceptions and always anomalies. But when I just what's the word? When I just take a broad overview of how many of us are living day to day and how some of us wouldn't even entertain other options, because we're very stubborn. Even if you're living in America, there's no white Americans, that they just absolutely refuse to travel. And, like most people want to see what's out there a little bit. But we have some of our people that are just like, I'm here, even though their quality of life is not great. What's up, family? Big shout outs. Who's in the room? Diane says, I've told so many Ghanaians that if America is so great, why are we moving to Ghana? Yeah, I would say like 99.9% of diasporans have had this conversation on the continent. Continentals want to know why we're leaving, the streets paved in gold and the land of opportunity and all this kind of stuff. And the reality is the perception is not how we're living. Because obviously, if we were living like that, if we weren't, perturbed by racism, I personally believe that's why many Black people in Europe, they don't have such a radical perception, B1 and Black love and all this stuff, because they live more comfortable here. They're able to get houses They're able to get cars, nice cars. They're able to wear better clothes and travel frequently. They're able to save money. They're able to frequent their homelands. Most Ghanaians here in Ghana, I mean, here in UK, I've never met a Ghanaian that says they've never been to Ghana. Even if they're born and raised here, they travel back and forth to Ghana, or Nigerians, they travel back and forth to Ghana. So the diaspora here in Europe is in a much better position. In addition, yes, they do face their version of racism, which Americans would say, oh, that's not, we're accustomed to much more blatant, violent, loud, bold racism in America. They face it more covert here. It's more undercut. It's more, comments, these kind of little things like that. And many people can turn the cheek on that stuff. It's not so blaring that it just like cripples you the way that I feel the racism in America. It's so unnerving. It's so psychological. It's so offensive. It's so violent. You can't really ignore the racism, over there, in my opinion. So, those Black people living here in Europe, they're so much more comfortable. And that's why, they are not leading this movement of heading back to Africa. But because I think it's so volatile, it's made many Black Americans say, okay, it's literally do or die. I've got to get out of this place. And, that is why many people have now begun to explore and entertain Africa. It's not because they want, necessarily were interested in it. They are looking at the reality of the environment they're in and deciding, okay, I need to check other options. Big shout outs to the family. Thank you so much, Diane, for your opinion. What's up, Jackie? Yes. Big shout outs to the family in the building tonight. Yes. So this was what I wanted roped in, tied in. you know, they y'all see this network in the UK? Y'all see this network in the UK? Are they shadow banning my channel? I don't know. But yes, I'm still going to talk about it. So I just wanted to, encourage you guys to check your options. Never be so resolute in your position, especially, if, again, like I said, if you are living a robust life and you wouldn't change anything, you're not longing for anything, then it makes sense you wouldn't entertain anything else. You're like, I'm winning across the board. You know what I'm saying? I'm winning across the board. I don't need to be anywhere else. This is the place I need to be. But if there's much to be desired in your life, then your feet should not be planted. You should be ready to say, okay, no, I need to see what's up. And if you're intelligent enough to recognize that information has been deliberately restricted from you, you should be interested to begin to research those things and look into those things to see why it has been restricted from you. That's the point I was at. I was at the point where I was like, okay, I know that they're not teaching me this, and I know that I'm not being exposed to this. Why am I not being exposed to this? And I'm going to do the legwork to find out. And for me, it was a life-changing thing, because once I started exploring, I said, you know what? I see why they want me to know. You know what I mean? I see why they didn't want me to move abroad. I see why I wasn't promoted to go to Africa, because that was the missing component in my situation. And I know I have a very bright future because now that I'm no longer in a compressive and toxic environment, I can cultivate and become the best version of myself. because I'm in an environment that makes me feel good, that makes me feel relaxed, that makes me feel loved. I'm a part of a great community, and all these things, that supportive environment around me allows me to be very creative, allows me to be very relaxed, allows me to be very free. So I hope you guys enjoyed this message today. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. We had quite a few of you here. I hope you guys liked the stream. And I would hope that following this, you go and cop the EP, send votes, send support to the GoFundMe. Big shout outs to those of you guys that have sent some funds to the GoFundMe. Everything is still ongoing. You know what I mean? The trip is the last week of August. So we're getting prepared for that. And like I told you, it's a lot of moving parts. I'm hoping to be able to assist my makeup artist in getting there, but I need support from the family to do all these things because traveling to South Africa this year was not planned. My tour here in the UK was planned, and so so please show your support, family. We can do a lot with all of you here. We can make things happen. So let's make things happen. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you do subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos. Okay? All right, family. So I hope you guys are doing well and everything. And thank you so much for taking your time out to watch me. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.